Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome to the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Everyone, hey, welcome back into the program. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm your co-host, Carissa.
Perfect. Came in loud and clear the first time. That's what we'd like to see. So everyone, hey, welcome into the show. Today on the show, we have a full hour for computer and technology news. A lot of updates to previous stories, and it's going to be a very fun show. So you definitely want to sit back and relax. We'll be doing that today. Before we get started, computeramerica.com. That's what you should know about everything, including past shows, future shows, all shows, and as well as articles, reviews, podcast, everything like that can be found at our website. Very simple. We try to make that simple for you, and hey, check that out. Let's see. Also, while you're there, check out the social media links, give us a follow, give us a like, and yeah, I think that is about it. I'll keep the morning announcements short, so we can get into computer and technology news. But before we get to that, Carissa, how you doing?
Pretty okay. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And yeah, it's I know that obviously you're out there in Colorado, so it's not the biggest occasion, but we have had our first snow of the season. So yeah.
Yay.
I know it's crazy. I'm sure that Colorado hasn't even gotten rid of the last snow of last season. So yeah.
That's about right. It was actually last week, actually, we got a little bit of snow, and there's still some on the ground where the shade is and stuff like that. So we're still hanging out with that. Yeah. But that's probably the third one of the season.
Yeah, it's the weather has been crazy. I mean, just a couple of days ago it was like almost 80 degrees out, and 3 days ago, and now it won't be above freezing for like a full 24 hours. Weather, wow. How does it work? Well, guess what? We're not going to explain it here because we will do computer and technology news. Are you ready, Carissa?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So I think that for our first story, and Chris has a couple she wants to pick from, but I wanted to do a couple of quick ones. The first one's going to be about the Arecibo, and I've since been corrected on my pronunciation of that. So the Arecibo radio telescope. We talked about that last week and how it was unfortunately due to damage sustained from Hurricane Maria, I want to say, and also because of COVID. The research facility has not been getting the kind of through traffic and the funding that it needs, and it recently had some damage to some of the support towers that were holding it up. If you haven't seen what this thing looks like, there's like a research facility kind of hanging over the middle of it, and a giant dish underneath it. And unfortunately, the part with the dish had been damaged from a falling limb, or one of the support towers started to give out. that was the update from last week. This week, and actually within about 2 hours ago, the giant Arecibo radio telescope collapses in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
there you go.
No.
Yep, it didn't take long. They mentioned that the observatory had been set to close after damage in August, and scientists and Puerto Ricans mourn the loss of the historic facility. Yeah, it collapsed, saying that a huge radio telescope in Puerto Rico that had played a key role in the astronomical discoveries of more than half a century collapsed today. So, but Carissa, this is why they kind of decommissioned it and said no one's allowed in there because it was structurally unsound. It was dangerous.
Right, exactly. And at least it's down now. They don't have to put anybody else in danger to get it down because it just kind of did that itself. So
yeah, gravity assisted big time. So they mentioned that a 100-foot gash in the radio telescope actually came from an auxiliary cable snapping back in August. And with that being said, the collapse stunned many scientists who had relied on what was until recently the largest radio telescope in the world. And I think that's the legacy it's going to leave behind, is that hey, this was the largest scientific instrument of its kind in the entire world. And I'm sure it was definitely a port of pride for the citizens of Puerto Rico that, obviously probably played a big role in supporting the scientists there and supporting the work that's being done there. Hey, it was just a very, very, very interesting thing to have happen. So, absolutely.
And at least that stuff's still in existence too. So it's not like all of the data has been wiped out. It's just the machine that did it. So
yeah, the facility is closed, or I'm sorry, had been closed since again August. And after 57 years of operation, you like to think it's almost like the space shuttle. Again, just went down to Houston and saw that myself. That's where you kind of hope these things kind of end up. Even if you can come up with better instruments, more sophisticated instruments. I mean, really think about the technology that was current at the time in 1963 or something, whenever this thing was built. The technology was not, it was not built from the ground up with the latest technology, but it was still a historic and still very useful kind of instrument. So you like to think, again, like the space shuttle, it goes somewhere, it's preserved so other people can learn, kind of where we came from. But no, unfortunately, this one just happened to collapse. So he said that, let's see, on November 6th, which is when we last covered this last month, another cable had broke, and a spokesman for the observatory said that there will be no immediate comment, and a spokeswoman for the University of Central Florida did not return a request for comment as well. So, I'm sure that for the scientists who work with this personally, I'm sure this is hitting them much harder. Think of it like your favorite. Like your favorite car that finally kicks the bucket. I mean, it was still a car. It was still useful. It may not have been the most sophisticated car, but boy, it was yours. So, yeah.
And it wasn't broken until it was, so you didn't need to fix it till that point. So now I guess we need a new one.
Yeah, there you go. So it's finally over. The Arecibo live on in memory. So there's a little update for that one. Let's see. So there's that one, and I wanted to cover. Okay, this one made the rounds yesterday, and Ajit Pai. We had covered him a lot more at the beginning of Trump's administration, when he famously appointed Ajit Pai to oversee the Federal Communications Commission, and his background was in he was a lobbyist for the telecommunications companies. So he was a lobbyist for Verizon. He worked closely with AT&T. I think he was the chairman of Comcast. He had very, very strong ties to kind of the cable companies and the cell phone companies and the cell phone providers. So that was him. He famously led the vote against the net neutrality, which was a big thing back in 2016. Obviously, net neutrality was no more. It was struck down, and it was not the kind of the law of the land. But I've been seeing this article come up ever since, we now have a president-elect Joe Biden, and they're like, Ajit Pai is stepping down January 20th, net neutrality back on, blah, blah, blah. The reason I wanted to bring this up, I mean, plenty of articles, you can go see what's up, but the president has always placed his own chairman of the FCC himself, just like when Trump came into office in 2016, he placed Ajit Pai. And before that, Barack Obama had his FCC chairman stationed there for 8 years. Yeah, whenever there's a new president, they get to assign who it is. Traditionally, I will say though, Carissa, the president didn't really waste time in personally handpicking this one. I think that Trump did that especially due to some lobbying and some past promises and commitments. But normally, a president comes in and just goes, oh, FCC chairman, who's doing it now? Okay, yeah, they can keep doing it. Only recently has kind of the FCC been used as a way to push forward policy that doesn't make it elsewhere. Now, anyways, what this all means, Ajit Pai is definitely stepping down January 20th because obviously President-elect Joe Biden would not want to reinstate Ajit Pai. So he's going to get the boot. Even if he doesn't step down, he's definitely going to get the boot. There's zero chance he has kind of shown that partisanship that, he's going to be asked to stick around. So there's that. And on top of that, when they say that net neutrality is back on the table, when you legislate kind of how the FCC did, that was only going to last as long as the current administration lasted, for these 4 years or 8 years. If you want something hard set, and this is what the incoming president is going to have to deal with, if you want something that is not going to change every 4 years, which is not a good thing for businesses, because businesses kind of like knowing what the rules are before they start heavily investing in ways to, grow in that direction.
Right.
Anyways, the laws that govern net neutrality are going to be put back in place under the new FCC chairman, but to have long-term effects that are going to protect consumers against predatory practices such as data caps, limiting of service and plans and speeds, throttling, all that kind of thing. The thing that is going to protect consumers is actual legislation put forth by Congress and all that kind of thing. So I wanted to say, first of all, Ajit Pai leaving January 20th. No duh. That's obvious. And for everyone saying that net neutrality is back on, it is, but it also isn't. No one's really going to take it seriously until it becomes a written law and voted and, kind of passed by Congress. So, yeah, that was my big spiel about that one. I don't know.
That makes it's interesting and it makes sense. And it's also like, isn't this one of the first times where we would have to put something like that in place for technology into law?
So, this was, I'm drawing on memories that are like 3 years old now. I recall the conversation back then about net neutrality was like, if net neutrality was so important, why haven't we had it before? And the response to that is more, it's not that you didn't have net neutrality before, it's that you had net neutrality and everyone kind of honor coded it. Like, don't set up data caps, don't do this, don't do that. And no one ever really truly legislated it. Technology came to the point where, in the past we had kind of rule of thumb and, kind of best practices. If you're a cell phone company, they knew that the cell phone industry knew that if they tried to impose strict data caps on everyone, like industry wide, then that would, almost like the Eye of Sauron in Lord of the Rings, it would kind of turn all the legislators onto them and say, why are you doing that? Is that actually legal? Let's legislate this. It's almost like they flew under the radar and they tried to get away with as much as possible. With this administration being so kind of pro large corporation, cell phone provider, internet provider, they didn't feel the need to do that anymore. That's why many places either already have data caps or are going to be getting them soon. That's why net neutrality was struck down. It's always been operated, and like the point of net neutrality was that it kind of codified what everyone was kind of sticking to, and it was a set of rules that these companies could then abide by and start to, kind of do that kind of thing. They struck it down, and cell phone companies were allowed to run rampant. So that's my long-winded answer as to, kind of why are we having it again? It's because we've always had it in one form or another. It's just never been official or legal or written law. And right. Even to this day, that's what we need to get to. We need to get to written word of law as it pertains to data caps and freedom of speech on the internet, that kind of thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And the right to internet, all that good stuff. So big changes coming, FCC, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, let's see. So let's see if there's anything else in this article because I didn't really read it. Let's see. Yeah, this talks a lot about data caps, section 230, which is its own whole mess of a thing. Okay, that's about it. Call that covered. All right, our third story, Carissa, I'll go ahead and let you pick the next one.
Well, I think I want to do.
Let's just do the monolith. You've already talked about it, so we can do this. So a story that we did not cover yesterday. Yeah, a story that we did not cover yesterday was a monolith that went missing, and that's the one that we did talk about. That was in Utah, right? Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
In Utah.
Yeah, the one in Utah, and it was missing, and no one really truly knows the origin of it. There was another one found in, and actually, here we go. Romania as well. And by the way, here's the monolith. By the way, if you're watching the video portion, ladies and gentlemen, twitch.tv/Computer America, you can see it up here on my screen. It's a large metal. Yeah, when they say a monolith, think of just like a large metal rectangle. I mean, this thing would be very inconvenient to hike out of or hike into with. Looks very struggling. Anyways, they found one in Romania. So, Carissa, what do we know about the one in Romania?
Let's
see. They say that
authorities stumbled across mysterious.
Yeah, they said that residents in the Romanian city of Piatra Neamț said that they found another odd item that could have been ripped out of 2001: A Space Odyssey. They said that they have a local news reports, and this one's in. One much like it, which you can see there. This one is curved, which I guess like the one in Utah. So yeah, it's they look very similar. They really do.
Yeah, they do. It makes you wonder if it was beamed up into space and then placed back down in Romania.
I'm trying to think of some of these other global publicity stunts that have happened. And I know that there was one for Fortnite. There was another one with an artist who was doing pianos in weird places. They dropped a piano off on an island in the middle of nowhere. They dropped a piano. They've been setting up different displays in different parts of the world. I'm almost getting the feeling, Carissa, that it's almost like this is feeling like a publicity stunt by someone for something, but I don't know what yet.
I mean, if it is, it's a really great one because I'm like completely involved in this whole thing. Like, I just need to know where this monolith is going and why it's there, and I just find it so interesting that somebody's even bothering to do that.
According to this article
right
here,
now, like you.
Yeah. It's times are very strange. I don't think we need to be adding to it. But the article also mentions that last Friday night, so, kind of Black Friday, an adventure photographer mentioned that he spotted four men dismantling the structure in Utah in the dead of night. So, yeah, it's a team of guys.
That's a ripoff. That's less exciting than I thought it was going to be.
All that was left of the structure Saturday morning was a triangular metal piece that used to be on top of a hole where the base of the tower stood. And the Bureau of Land Management denied moving the structure. As for the monolith in Romania, they said that he had no answers himself. He would not be upset if the newfound mystery happened to attract tourists to his city. So always the businessman, always the city councilman saying, hey, I don't know what it is either. You should come check it out and visit some of our fine local establishments. Good for him. Good for him. It's Carissa seems very very sure of the alien theory. I'm more skeptical on that one, but
the four guys that took it out of the ground could have been aliens. You have no idea.
That's true. And the Kia that they were driving could have been an alien Kia. You never know. It's
yes.
Yeah, could have been anything that you until you don't know. So it's very, very strange. And again, you can see the pictures here. And they even have more. I have no idea what to make of this thing. It's to be fair, that does not look alien at all. It looks like kind of brush and someone kind of tried to
hammered steel. Yeah,
hammered steel, brush steel, and that kind of thing. I don't know, but it's a fun idea. So I hope we find out
where it shows up next.
The only the very nondescript nature of what it is kind of leads me to say, well, it's not Coke trying to do viral advertising because it doesn't have a big Coca-Cola logo on it or something. I don't know who would do this kind of thing. The only thing in my mind that could afford doing this, and I have no idea how it would tie in directly, but like Cyberpunk 2077 is about the only thing I can think of, because like there's not even like big blockbuster movies coming out that could like take advantage of this. It's only video games. Carissa, I'm sitting now December 1st here on the show. This is a PR stunt for Cyberpunk 2077.
It's been heard. It's on the books now.
That is my proclamation. So we will find out when we finally know. Okay. There's that story. Okay, so some of these other stories that I have, I wanted to cover. Oh, and actually, speaking of updates, since we're just updating previous stories that we did between the Arecibo and the Monolith and, kind of a couple of years back, the FCC chairman, Microsoft is making some changes to its productivity score after snooping criticism, which, as Carissa was mentioning, probably a good thing, because that was what gave her the heebie-jeebies about this.
And this came out today?
This came out today. This came out 22 minutes ago. So, yeah.
And that was after the other one that came out yesterday.
Yes. This is an update. So very immediate backlash and an immediate update from Microsoft. Microsoft will modify the productivity score function of Microsoft 365 following privacy concerns. The company rolled out a tool in October to help companies understand how workers adopt and use technology. It provides scores out of 100, so I was right on that assumption, on several factors, including communication and teamwork. There you go. Critics claimed that this would allow organizations to snoop on employees because some functions were linked to usernames. According to a demo video, the tool the tool could show how many days within a 28-day period that workers who were identified by name sent email, used chat, posted in Yammer, which I'm assuming is a function of Microsoft, or included @mentions in emails. This data was visible by default, though those insights could be turned off. So essentially, unless the IT took it upon themselves to turn it off, when IT sets it up, these are probably on by default. And yeah.
I'm sure some companies would argue that it's their data, their stuff. They should be able to look at it. But it's a little invasive, I think, especially if you're like a dedicated worker and you're just trying to do your job and your boss is looking that much further like into your stuff.
And this would be this is a whole subject case for a particular kind of law that I am not very familiar with. This has to do with what do you call it? Not workers' comp, workers' rights and, kind of the laws that govern, that this whole kind of thing. I'm sure that there are some protections given to employees against overbearing employers. Obviously some states have right to work states and things like that. But there has to be some protections to, kind of protect the employee. And I'm sure that this would cover that. Anywho, Microsoft said that it will remove usernames from productivity score. Instead, the communications, meeting, content collaboration, teamwork, mobility measures in productivity score will only aggregate data at the organization level. As such, no one in an organization will be able to use productivity score to access data about how an individual user is using apps or service in Microsoft 365. So it sounds like, and they mentioned, using things like at mentions, sending emails, using group chats, things that further the communication between workers. I guess they kind of say, let's say you have an organization of 500 people. You can now get a company-wide view of, your workers were 76% effective or 76 productivity score effective at using communication. If they improve in these key areas, they can improve their productivity score all the way up to 80 or 83, but it won't drill, or at least at this moment, it won't let you drill down even further to say, Ben is, out of 500 people, Ben is the worst at using communication out of everyone. So, I guess. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, you actually cut out there. I didn't hear most of what you had said before that part.
Hopefully that was on your end and not my end, because if it was on my end, okay, good. Anyways, so to continue on here, just one more point, and then we'll move on to the next story. Microsoft's 365 app health, network connectivity, and endpoints analytics weren't linked to usernames. Instead, the scores were used at the device level identifiers to help IT departments identify and address various issues and be proactive. Tech support, as in saying, which devices have trouble connecting to the internet, for instance. So,
right.
Let's see. So to cap this off, Microsoft plans to clarify that in the user interface and improve our privacy disclosures in the product to ensure that IT admins know exactly what we do and do not track. Microsoft is making changes so that individuals cannot be targeted by large corporations or big employers. And it's not it's still going to score. Yes, it's still going to snoop on the entire company, but it won't get as fine grain as every individual person.
All right.
Gotcha.
That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
That's better. I like that better than how they were thinking about doing it.
Yeah. Well, for sure. It definitely could have gotten very overbearing very quickly. So let's see. So there's that one. All right. I have two more stories, and then we'll go ahead and pick one from you, Carissa, but I wanted to do one. What do you know, Carissa, about Microsoft Microsoft Flight Simulator?
I know it exploded the internet when it came out. Was it a few weeks ago, a few months ago?
A couple weeks ago. Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Yeah. And then they sold out on the specific controllers for it too. Like you couldn't find them anywhere on the internet.
Joysticks were definitely at a premium. Yeah. Because who the heck buys joysticks anymore?
Right.
So yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think it was. I think it was free. No. $60. But here's the thing. It was $60. It was, or it continues to be at the time. Like when you think about flight simulators, you think, oh, well, it's gonna be kind of cheesy. It's whatever. No, this is the most detailed flight simulator currently on the market. Using satellite imagery and that kind of thing. And if you are a pilot, this is what you're using. If you are some random person who just bought this thing off Amazon for $60, you are using professional grade flight simulation software. It has like 12 terabytes, I think, of satellite imaging that it's using.
Oh my God.
Yeah, to generate the game. But of course, most of that, Carissa, is hosted on Microsoft's servers, so you don't actually have to download 12 terabytes of data every time you want to play the game.
That's a relief.
Yeah, no, you just kind of stream the data, and you stream like a certain amount of maps around you. But anyways, my point is, they have some data. PC Gamer has some data saying that about 3/4 of people who played the game, flew home for their first trip. There you go.
Oh,
and really,
that's so nice.
Think about that, Carissa. You can fly anywhere on the map. You can fly to the Bermuda Triangle. You can fly to any random country. You can fly to every landmark, the 7 wonders of the world, the pyramids of Giza. You could fly anywhere you want. Everyone flew home. There you go.
Adorable.
Yep. So with a variety of different aircrafts, of course, the would-be jet setters can explore their favorite hotspots without having to worry about the global pandemic. And, well, check that out. Developer Asobo Studios spoke with NoClip host about users' choice to fly home, something that hasn't been possible since COVID-19 made it a dangerous proposition for many to travel. Saying that when the coronavirus hit, I was supposed to go visit my family and I couldn't because they live in Germany. So I flew there and I called my parents and we just talked about the weather. It was the same time of day, same weather. It looked exactly right. I basically called them up and said, I'm as close as I can get. So there you go.
What a good story.
Yeah, no, and just to cap it off, one last thing: Microsoft Flight Simulator has acted as something of an analog for home visits for many. And while Google Maps would allow users to fly to spots that they designate in their browsers, it's a much different experience to leave a familiar airport and to fly one on your own. So there you go. Mm-hmm. It's Flight Simulator. If you haven't checked it out, they're adding new content all the time. They're constantly updating. I did not know that they actually did real-time weather in all the different places that they have. So,
that's incredible.
Pretty cool. What's able to be accomplished in today's time. So, okay, very simple. There's that one, and I wanted to also cover. Carissa, how do you feel about Samsung phones?
I'm okay with them.
Just okay?
They're fun. It's been a while since I've had one. I sometimes found that the cameras were a little bit slower to open up than I needed them to be. But they're okay. They've got a lot of bloatware sometimes, which I don't really like, but
not only bloatware, but I think not too recently, like I think it's been on for a little while now. I actually know someone who has one, and she mentioned that they have it's not quite pop-ups. They're definitely banner ads that are on the phone that you cannot get rid of. And I'm like,
oh God,
that phone costs you like $1,100 or $1,200, and it still comes with unremovable banner ads. That's just
obnoxious.
Obnoxious is a good word for it. That seems so nickel and dime for someone who's paying a lot of money for that kind of thing. Like, say what you want about Apple, and they have their own form of advertising with their own apps and things like that. At least they won't put a banner ad up on your screen. I mean, that's
right.
That's crazy. Anywho, speaking of Samsung, the Galaxy Note 20 may go down as the last of its line. According to Reuters, the company will not release a Galaxy Note device in 2021. So, if you're a fan of the larger, let's see, I think I had like the stylus, the Live Pen. I forgot what they're calling that thing. I'm
not sure what they called it.
Yeah,
I like calling it a stylus. It's fine. Little stick.
Yep. Yeah, the little stylus will not be available. And let's see, I think it's called the S Pen, by the way. So it's like the Galaxy S and the S Pen. So the Galaxy Note.
Okay.
Okay, saying that as part of the move, the company will shift development resources that it would have put toward making the new Note to its foldable division instead. In a way, it's not surprising. Back when the company introduced the series back in 2011, they said that the stylus was a major outlier in the phone industry because At the time, everyone wanted to be like iPhone, no stylus, just use your finger, you're good to go. The Samsung Note with the stylus was very much a strange device. No other phone at the time had a big screen or came with a stylus. Now, obviously, the iPhone 4S, which Apple released the same year, looked diminutive, or very, very tiny, with its 3.5-inch display next to the Samsung's second flagship. So, with that being said, as Note became more popular, Samsung abandoned the experimentation that had characterized the series throughout its years. Stylus compatibility aside, in recent years, the Note and the Galaxy S lineups have featured more or less the same internal components. So it's not surprising to learn that the company wants to focus development on the foldable technology and kind of move away. So my understanding, Carissa, is that they had the Samsung Galaxy Note and the Samsung Galaxy S phones, and the internals of the phones were almost the exact same. The only thing that really differentiated the two was the fact that one of them had a stylus that kind of, went inside the phone and the other didn't. And I guess at this point, they're just like, we have this other crazy, very experimentational technology with foldable phones. It costs a lot of money. It's very different than what we already have. So why do we need two of almost the same thing? Why do we, kind of put more resources into our experimental folding phone and just let the Samsung Galaxy S take over that phone? So,
I mean, that makes sense to me. I think that's a great idea. And I think the folding phone idea is really interesting and new, because previously it was just like, you had your folding phones, but they were razors. It wasn't a full screen.
Well,
it wasn't even remotely close to us.
Yeah, no. The folding phones that the Samsung are putting out, they put out the last year. They're truly folding. The screens are folding, all that good stuff. And yeah, the Razr was as well, but the Razr wasn't that thing like 25 or like $3,000? That thing was
something like that. It was like maybe it was even 35. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 35 actually sounds more right. That thing was stupid expensive. It makes Samsung look like almost a bargain at that rate.
Right.
So one thing I want to make clear, though, is that the Samsung is not totally ditching the stylus. If you want to buy an S Pen separately, like as a separate accessory, both the Samsung Galaxy S line of phones and the new foldable phones that they're going to be putting out more and more, both of them will be stylus compatible. You're just going to have to buy your stylus separately. So, yeah,
That's fine, I guess.
Yeah, it won't there won't be a place for you to kind of put it inside your phone, but if you keep it in your pocket or you're keep it in your pocket, but there's also, I'm sure there will be like cases where you can slip it in and out of.
Right. Get a little chime for it, like your DS stylus.
Exactly. So not the biggest loss, but I think people, I don't know. I'm sure that there's someone out there who's like, that was my phone. I bought one every year. And yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, sorry about it. But I think foldable phones, personally for me, I think that is definitely the technology of the future. If they can really get that price down and, really make that affordable, I think most people would prefer to have a foldable phone.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely would.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So there's that one. Okay. This is new. So a lot of what we've been talking about are kind of updates. This is brand new. And Reddit, for the first time ever, has revealed its daily active user count. And I'm sure you've already spoiled yourself, Carissa. The title does a very good job of it right there. This is by Jacob K, and this is by The Verge. Reddit reveals the daily active user count for the first time: 52 million users.
Ooh, boy.
And real quick, let's see. Top websites.
They haven't revealed this before. Why not?
It's internal. They never had to.
Huh.
It's always been something of kind of their own secret sauce. So
right.
I'm trying to look real quick. So let's see. Control F. Reddit is the number 18 global websites. So, and even if you take out, if you take out all the Chinese websites, because at this point, ladies and gentlemen, let's put it this way. There are two internets. There's one that China has and one that the rest of the world has. China has their own set of ISPs, domain hosting services, domain, like all that kind of thing. Everything is like strictly Chinese on their own as well. So, when I'm not trying to be, anything against China, they just have their own services because they have like 1.3 billion people. They have enough people to have their own internet. Regardless, fun fact, Carissa, number one website visited globally is Google, as in google.com.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Carissa, what page is your browser set to when you first open it?
Well, I guess it's Google because I'm using Google Chrome, so I guess that makes sense.
It is, and it's same for mine. I'm sure same for many people. Many IT professionals use google.com, and actually, fun fact, that's why they don't do this. Google has always made it, and this is like a carryover from when everything was like a 56 kilobit connection, and the internet was truly, truly, truly awful. It's kind of a holdover, but that's why Google has never sold ad space on google.com. Like they'll sell you ads all over your searches. You go into the list and there's sponsored posts and all that kind of thing. But when you go to google.com, there's never a banner. There's never a pop-up. There's no ads whatsoever. They want to make sure that page loads as quickly as possible for everyone. Fun fact.
That makes sense. So that way they don't go off and use Bing or something like that.
Right. They want to make sure it's as unobtrusive as possible. And what that means is that a lot of internet professional, a lot of IT people, if you want to check to see if you have an internet connection, they use google.com because they know it loads very quickly and effectively. And if you can't load google.com, you don't have access to the internet. And that's just, because it's so lightweight. Anyways, that's my little, fun fact about Google. Google.com number one. YouTube is actually number two.
Oh, also makes sense.
YouTube is a very, very big website. And then from there, the next three in the top five, the next three are all Chinese companies.
Oh.
See, like, Carissa, the number three most visited website in the world is Tmall. TMALL.com.
Well, what's there?
I have no idea because it's a Chinese company. If I had to guess, it's internet related services. I'm sure it has something to do with Tmall, formerly Taobao Mall. So it's like Amazon, kind of, but for Chinese people.
Interesting.
It's actually a spinoff of Alibaba. So there you go. Mm-hmm. Anywho, let's see. And actually, reopen close tab. I did that by accident. Okay, so my point is Reddit, though. Reddit is number 18 on this list. Reddit's number 18. Million. At 52 million daily users. Daily.
What is Google's? Can we find that?
They have a couple of numbers here, but they're from other social media sites, and they're comparing that. Mm-hmm. The internet traffic going to Google, I don't think we have that off the top of our heads. The best the rankings that I've been talking about all come from a service called Alexa. I can't use that word. Is actually by that word internet services, and like they track that kind of thing. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and continue on with this one. Like, really, my point is, it's a really big website, and you think it's so massive, but check this out. Like, this is the pitfall that so many things get into, that they think that their minority, their group of people is so outspoken, and they're so big, and, we speak for everyone, and we're the majority. Yeah, Reddit users, you have 52 million daily active users. Twitter has 187 million daily users.
What?
Twitter is more than 3 times the size of Reddit. Snap has 249 million users. Snap has almost 5 times the users of Reddit. And Facebook, I don't know if you read the, you might not have read the article yet, Carissa. Guess how many daily active users Facebook has?
Oh, at least 500 million, I would think.
More.
Oh my God, 700 million?
Yeah, you're looking at closer to 1.82 billion daily users. God. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Facebook actually hits 2.5 billion monthly users, but daily, yeah, you're looking at about 1.82 billion daily. Facebook is, and I know, and trust me, I use Reddit plenty. I don't actually engage or discuss anything on the platform, but I like to look at what other people have stolen from other people, and yeah. 52 million goes into 1.82 billion. I want to say, like, what is that? 28 times or something like that, or 20 something times. My point is, yeah, it's a lot. Reddit is so small compared to everyone else. Don't get me wrong. They have amazing user engagement. I mean, compared to a lot of the social media sites, Reddit, like I think what Reddit excels at is the amount of time spent on the platform, where, you know, it's the strict usage and like the strict like daily users isn't that much, but the amount of time that they spend on there, I think that's where like Google, that's where Reddit is only second to YouTube when it comes to time spent on the website. Because
so that's
Reddit,
scrolling or watching videos or whatever you're doing on there.
Yeah. Reddit is very good at keeping your attention, having a lot of content for you to look at. So they mentioned that daily usage of Reddit is being shared for the first time as a more accurate reflection of our user growth and to be more in line with industry reporting. That's what they said. They said that the other reason for the change was to focus on a number that would help to grow Reddit's advertising business. Reddit has focused on monthly usage in the past, and this time last year, the company said it had 430 million monthly users with 30% year-over-year growth. The quick growth has come during a period where Reddit began to iterate more rapidly on its service, blah, 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 blah. The point is, Reddit's still tiny. It's 52 million though. That's a lot of users. Like, that's a lot of people. But it isn't, like, whenever you hear about, you know, Reddit users in particular saying that, oh, we're the majority, we speak for everyone, in my experience. No, turns out Reddit doesn't really have that great of a variety of experiences. If you really want that, Twitter might even be a much better place. Snapchat might be a better place. And I would say, to even a greater extent, like, we talk about, like, we badmouth Facebook a lot, Carissa, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Deserves it, though.
Yeah, but still, Facebook has almost 3 billion monthly users. Facebook is
including
huge.
Me.
Yeah, Facebook is impossibly huge for most people to kind of gather their head around how big Facebook is. There's a reason. It's like a $400 billion company, and it doesn't even sell a physical product. It's very, very big. So, anywho, that's that story. Let's see. Carissa, did you have another story that looked interesting to you?
I might want to talk about Lucid Motors.
We can definitely do that. So, okay. What do we go ahead and... Actually, one more update and then Lucid Motors, because I think this will be a good lead-in for that.
Yep.
A little update. Nikola, the one, the only, the company that yesterday GM kind of pulled back from its supposed deal. Nikola has a little bit more trouble here today. saying that Nikola's stock price has nosedived for 4 straight trading days, and that in June, aspiring hydrogen truck maker Nikola became a publicly traded company thanks to a merger with a special purpose acquisition company. The transaction included a 180-day lockup for company insiders, designed to prevent them from dumping their shares on unsuspecting investors in the first few days of trading. So I guess that's a way of trying to protect people from making a almost fictitious company, cough cough, and dumping that on unsuspecting venture capitalists. And today, the first day of those insiders can sell their shares, and the stock price is down 15%.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 15% on today, on top of a 26% decline from yesterday as well.
Right.
Because, and that one was because of them canceling their Badger pickup truck. Nikola's stock is now down about 80% from its post-IPO high in June and down 65% since September's announcement of the deal with GM. The failure to close the deal announced yesterday forced Nikola to abandon their consumer pickup truck. Let's see. And with that being said, the founder and former executive chairman Trevor Milton, who owned more than 90 million shares of the stock, Milton unlocked most of those. Milton was forced to resign from Nikola in September after revelations that he had lied about the functionality of the company's first product, the Nikola One. In reality, the truck never worked. That was the whole thing with the rolling down the hill kind of thing. Mm-hmm. A spokesperson for Milton declined to tell CNBC whether he had sold any of his shares, but what is clear is that trading in Nikola was unusually heavy on Tuesday morning. As he writes this at about 3 p.m. Eastern, more than 60 million shares have changed hands. That compares with an average of around 20 million shares on a typical day. And don't forget, this is a company that is, it's almost like, I don't want to say the poor man's Tesla, because that's even giving it too much credit, comparing it to Tesla. But it was
not even a product.
Yeah, it was an internet favorite though. So, anyways, that is a hydrogen fuel cell company that is not doing well. Let's go ahead and talk about one that is. Well, actually, I should say an electric car company. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see, you had one here, Lucid Motors. This is like the Chinese version of Tesla. So Lucid Motors wants to be a Tesla competitor, and they're probably better than most people. And I mean, Carissa, if you can see their logo here, doesn't that look like the same font that Tesla tries to use?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Let's see, Tesla logo.
I thought there was something weird about that, and I was like, God, I can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, I mean, and let's see, open image in new tab. Where is that? There we go. Like, there's Tesla, and don't get me wrong, it's not the same because obviously, well, first of all, different letters, but I mean, they're so similar. Think of all the fonts in the world. I don't know. Anyways, they want to position themselves as a type of Tesla. And now last year, they mentioned that they have finally completed. They have finished the first phase of construction. So it's not completely completed, but the first phase is on schedule to start production of its first vehicle by spring 2021. And $700 million facility well on its way to producing a car, which again, much further than Nikola has ever gotten. The first phase of the factory comprises it's 1,000 square feet shy, a 1 million square foot facility with the goal of eventually expanding into a 5 million square foot facility by 2028. And the next phase of construction will begin in early 2021. And initially, the factory will have the capacity to produce 30,000 vehicles a year, with the goal of eventually reaching an annual capacity of 400,000 vehicles. See, when Lucid Motors says that they're going to do this, I think they might actually be able to pull it off. Tesla has famously almost gone under so many times, and they're still at a risk they're pretty safe at the moment, but they are still constantly at risk of, kind of having all their evaluations stripped, everything looking bad. I mean, like Tesla barely made it. I have no idea how Lucid Motors is going to, but
well, they look really cool. I'm going to send you a link there. You can pull up what the car actually looks like.
Sure. Yeah, it's and of course here in the article they have a lot of the images of the production facility and the robotic arms and things like that. Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, pretty stylish, pretty futuristic. I mean, you are immediately going to know that it is an electric vehicle. So,
yep,
looks pretty good.
Looks kind of like a Kia.
Yeah, it honestly does, but kind of a little more low profile, a little sleeker.
Yep.
I like it. Now, the Lucid Air, first revealed last September, will get 500 miles of range, can hit a quarter mile in under 10 seconds, packs 1,000 horsepower, and has a base price of $77,000. Carissa, it looks good. I don't know if it looks $77,000 good, but...
No, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. And they said that they even have two even more expensive versions of the car, a $140,000 Air Grand Touring and a $170,000 Air Dream Edition. They're expected to go on sale for 2021. Like, I would say that, this is such a bad strategy, but that is the strategy that Tesla took. They came out with a Roadster, and it was like an $80,000 car. With some upgrades that could take up to $100,000. That's how Tesla got their foot in the door as a luxury sedan, and Elon Musk was able to turn that into a more consumer-friendly vehicle. Don't get me wrong, they haven't reached kind of the affordable range of cars, I would say. I mean, you can still buy one for like $35,000, $40,000, kind of $60,000, but they haven't gotten down to like the $20,000 to $25,000 that even they were hoping to hit. So, but it's a start, and Lucid Motor has to start somewhere as well. They're going to start with the premium product and then hopefully work the facility back into something that is more accessible to a lot more consumers. So, yep, maybe.
Absolutely.
I hope they do it. More competition is always better. And by the way, I was also want to mention Lucid Motor almost ran out of money as it pursued its plans to build Lucid Air. It took loans from a hedge fund and a Chinese bus company to stay afloat, and ultimately received a massive $1 billion lifeline from Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. So,
well, clearly they want some electric vehicles.
Saudi Arabia, the capital or the city that was built on, or the kingdom that was built on oil, wants electric vehicles. It's completely true. But when I say that Lucid, like that's where I got the idea in my head that Lucid Motors is like a Chinese Tesla, is that they were funded by a Chinese investment fund, and now also the Saudi Arabian investment fund. If you're one of those people that's still, kind of buy American, that kind of thing, Tesla is much further along and, may actually have a lot more, I don't know. Okay, there's that one.
And things like that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and finish up. We have time for like one more story, and this one immediately kind of grabs my attention. I'm not a big truck kind of guy. I mean, they're cool and all that, but hey, if there was ever a reason to not like them, check out the story here from Ars Technica. Aftermarket truck mods pollute as much as 9 million extra pickups.
Oh my God.
So I'm assuming what they mean here is that all the kitted out, modded up, jacked up pickup trucks that are not efficient, clean, or whatever, if you took that exact same number and kept them like normal pickup trucks instead of modded pickup trucks, you could, they produce as much as 9 million less. So anyways, let's see. So according to the EPA's Air Enforcement Division, the use of aftermarket emissions defeating devices by diesel truck owners rivals the problem. They estimate that about 550,000 medium pickup trucks have had their emission systems tampered with over the last decade, fully 15% of the diesel trucks on U.S. roads. And so they sure are dirty. lots of emission, that kind of thing, diesel pickup trucks and that kind of thing. Diesel pickup trucks are a problem, and that's bad because it's abundantly clear that high levels of these airborne pollutants can kill people as well. So,
is there any indication as to why this is happening aside from wanting to make a smokestack come out of your trucks because you think it looks cool?
So,
does it make it go faster?
Yeah, one of the big things about emission standards is that to meet certain efficiencies, you have to cut back on kind of like horsepower. You have to cut back on how much air your engine can actually move and can actually take in and combust within the engine. So by making them more efficient, you are making them less powerful. And these truck modders, they're changing them so that their trucks are more powerful. They can do more things, but of course, hey, you've sacrificed efficiency for that. So
right,
that's where we are. Everyone, we're out of time for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the show here, and I think it was a lot of fun. Catch us here tomorrow, same time, same place, and we'll be sure to catch you then. Everyone, until then. Oh, by the way, we should have Mike Cermak on here tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.